Hey, what's up? I'm Hennessy. I work remote. I travel often and I'm all about health and wellness these days. And I've been investing in Dominican Republic, building something that really means something to me. I'm creating a life full of freedom, purpose, and a little bit of adventure and sharing it all right here. So if you're into that, don't forget to subscribe and come along for the ride.
Hi everyone, long time no speak. Welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, I did the whole intro already. But today I'm kind of just gonna rant, so I hope you can keep up with me. I just want to get some of my thoughts out there. As you guys know, I started this channel to talk about my experience and what I've learned so far about investing in Dominican Republic, Airbnb in Dominican Republic. But it has all been trial and error, and I've just been sharing what I've learned so far. I'm still learning myself. So today we're gonna talk about a topic that I'm sort of still trying to get through and understand and see how I'm gonna move along. So for context, as you may or may not have seen in any of my previous videos, I have land in DR that I bought in 2023, at the end of 2023 or so. And I want to try to develop that land. Now, I did something very, I don't want to say stupid, but it was just something that I was like, I need to kind of like just understand what the pricing is. And it's that I did two architectural plans from two different people. And the reason I did that is because I did the original architectural plan thinking very like logical, like this is going to be easier to construct. It's probably going to be cheaper. I could probably get it done in a short amount of time. Overall, it can go like one of two ways in terms of return on investment, and logically it just made more sense. And then I have a second architectural plan that I got done by someone else. And if you guys want me to do a video on like, you know, how is the process of like getting architectural plans done, how much it costs, I can also do that. Let me know below if that's something you're interested in. But the second architectural plans I did were on basically a dream project of mine, and like this would be the ideal project for me to do, and like I'll just be fully in love with it. It's more like a passion project of mine. And yes, there is great income potential because obviously like that's a big component of it, but it's also like something that would require more time. It would be way more expensive. It just requires so many different components, but it is like beautiful. It's like a dream project of mine. Anyways, I was in Dominican Republic this last week, and it just made me realize like, damn, I kind of want to like move up my timeline. I want to move to DR. I always had this timeline that, you know, I guess by the time I'm 40, I would move to DR or so. So that's like 7 years from now. You know, I would just like keep building here and there where I can. But honestly, I don't know. I'm at this stage where it's like, I love my job, don't get me wrong, but it's like, I'm over it. Like, I just want to live a freer life. I don't want to wait till later. There's always these horror stories of people just waiting to live their life at that like right moment, and then they do, and something big happens. They pass away, they get sick, like all these things that could happen. And I'm like, damn, like, do I want to keep prolonging this, or do I want to like start taking action now? And yes, I've been taking actions for years, right? Because that's what prompted me to invest in DR. It wasn't something I did from night to day. I've been doing this now for 5 years of slowly investing and doing things and trying things out and whatever the case is. But now it's like, okay, what else can I do to be able to take that step, right? Because a big component of moving to DR is, I always tell my mom wants to move to DR, and we are always having this conversation, and it's like, pobre en Nueva York, pero no pobre en Santo Domingo. And what I mean by that is that I love DR, and yes, life in DR could kind of be relatively cheaper depending on your lifestyle, but my lifestyle, DR could get very expensive. And I could be, in terms of like saying I could be poor here, is because here I don't spend a lot, I don't go out, I don't be trying to do too much. So I can technically like live a more, I don't want to say more poor because that's not the case, but life is just different, right? And it would be very weird or hard to live in DR and not have a good economic stands to be in the country, if that makes sense. So like that's why I always tell her that in that way. It's like it for me, it just feels like by the time I move to the DR, I have to be in a good financial situation where I have all this income coming in and I feel totally secure with living in DR, right? Because it's the choices that we make now that make life tomorrow a little bit easier. So that's always been my thought process, and that still stands. Like I still do think that way, but I kind of want to move that up a little bit more. I want to like be able to take that risk and just like move to DR. Anyways, that was definitely me just throwing a lot out there. But one of the things that came to mind is, okay, I have this land. What can I do? How can I start construction? Now, construction is very expensive. It is very expensive right now. Materials are more expensive than ever. The dollar has kind of been going down. And construction in DR, you could go one of two ways, right? You can get a construction company and it's going to be more expensive, but your project is going to be more secure. They're going to handle it from start to finish. They're going to follow the architectural plans. You probably won't have like any involvement, really, if you don't want to. And it's just overall more secure with knowing that your project is going to get done. However, you also have the option to work with a master construction person, right? The direct translation there in DR, Maestro Constructor, where these people don't have the educational background in construction, but they have enough experience that they know what's going on. Now, there's different ways you could work with a Maestro Constructor. I feel that the reason I've always been hesitant on them is because I've tried to work with one in the past, and I mean, things got done, but let me tell you, it was a headache. It was a headache. So I've always been kind of like hesitant. On top of that, I think with all the issues that's been happening with the last couple of months around not only issues, but discussion on construction practices in Dominican Republic. Obviously, a lot of that comes from using a master construction person that may not have that type of like educational background, those licenses to be able to actually do a solid construction project. Now, not to say that they're all like that. There are very good master construction people in DR. You just have to find them. It's like you're winning the lottery if you find a really good one. So and you could work with them in different formats, right? You could be responsible for buying all your material, and they just like do the job. They'll get the people that are going to do the job. They'll monitor the job for you. Something else that you could do that I feel like people don't talk about is that even if you hire a master construction person, you can still hire a engineer to like just go in and see that the job is getting done correctly. I feel like people don't talk about that a lot. Like you can definitely just hire a third party licensed person that can check on the work that this like master construction person is doing. Like that's definitely doable. People don't do it, but you can do that. So that's also definitely an option, and I think one that I've been like thinking about a lot more lately. And it's like, again, hiring a construction company makes sense, but it's way more expensive. Trust me, the gap between like you hiring, the financial gap in you hiring a construction company and hiring a master construction person is a pretty deep gap. Okay, so that all that to say is that, what are your thoughts? Like, are you doing construction in DR or thinking about doing construction in DR? Would you hire a construction company, or will you hire a master construction person? Like, how do you feel about these two different construction avenues on building? Obviously, me, I feel like I want to, or I feel like I'm going to end up going the route of like hiring a master construction person and then paying a engineer to do like project management in a way, and like making sure that things are getting done how they're supposed to. So that's, I feel like that's the route that I think I'm gonna take. The big component of this is also like, I don't have the money to do all this right now, right? This is me just wishful thinking right now. I've been putting the money together, but it takes time, right? I have bills, I have things to pay. Like I've been slowly putting this money together. If I go with a construction company, I can utilize the bank, right? The bank does have a process, which I can actually probably do a video on that, because I've reached out to several banks. I know what they like require. I have not done the process myself, but you can work with the bank to finance your construction company if you use to finance your construction, if you use a construction company with like an engineer that can provide their license number and all the things that the bank is requiring, or I can fund the whole project, which let's be honest, right? I told you I got two projects in mind. The realistic plan, I feel like I can fund that fully if I continue to save how I'm saving. When I say I am aggressively saving, so if I continue to save how I save, I can potentially do the project where it's realistic. The other project that is like me, just my passion project, what I love to do, I would love to do that too, but do I have the money to do that? No. So that's another question for you guys. What other options you have when it comes to construction in the art, besides you funding it yourself, besides you hiring, working with the bank and hiring a company? What are the other financial options here? And yes, I'm talking about like beyond, like, yes, I can get a loan in the US and like, yeah, take that. No. Like, for bigger construction companies, projects, what are people doing? How are people funding this? Okay, because I can't imagine all these people are self-funding these projects, especially these like bigger projects. Like, especially the people that are like in charge of these like bigger projects that are funding them. How are they funding that? Is that really with the bank? Because I need to know. Because the bank, these interest rates are extremely too high. I honestly, if I could not work with the bank, I probably won't. But anyways, that was me ranting. What are your thoughts? What are you guys doing? Please inform me. Now this is me asking for information. Let me know. How are you guys funding these projects? If you are, what are your thoughts on whether using a construction company or using a master construction person? How are you guys thinking about construction in general? Anything that can help guide me would be truly appreciated. So thank you so much, and see you guys next time.